How about that? Hey, everybody, this is the pre show. I'm Jay Skinner, and everyone's getting on board for this Friday morning. Just buy one, just sell one. The steps for getting started show. I think you're gonna have a lot of fun, and let's get everybody on board. Remember, we're here 10:35 every Friday morning. The Buyers and Sellers Show. What's that? And we're live. I'm Jay Skinner. Welcome to the Buyers and Sellers Show. And if you were listening to this earlier and you know what song I was playing, the intro there, let me know. You can write it in there in comments, and I'll mention it later on the show too. Anyway, so glad to have you. This is a great day, and this topic today is something that is so valuable. I think that you're going to love it. It's almost coming to you like a class, and this is. I'll be interested if you like it when I get this detailed. But I'm going to speak the things, and at the same time, they're written down below, and one way or another, you can pick them up and you can go back and check them out. So, what are the principles of the Buyers and Sellers Show? You know, the silver rule is to do unto your vendors as you want your customers to do unto you. Think about that. And we're going to say the green rule is do for yourself what you're asking others to pay you to do for them. Do for yourself what you're asking others to pay you to do for them. It's like practice what you preach. How about that? Hey, John, you got it. That was the beginning of Broadway by the Drifters. Exactly. Thanks. Glad you liked it. See, Taner, good to see you. It's a great topic to discuss. Thanks for bringing it. And I gotta say, Taner is my friend with Extreme Converting. We're working together now. And yesterday we were talking about principles of business, and I started going on a conversation about process and business and starting things up. And at the end, I said, "Thanks, Tanner. I'll. I think I have the topic for tomorrow." So that was good. Always nice to be um, motivated by our things that we do during the week and by our friends. And the Bible says this: iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. And it certainly is true with me and Taner. So let's move on and think about what we're talking about. The idea is you got a new business or an idea, or it's a new program emanating out of an existing business. and you're trying to determine the viability, what makes good, how you go about doing things. And I will tell you that sometimes people go after that in a very disorganized fashion and they hurt themselves, I think, not even realizing how they are hurting themselves. And this can be established businesses and startups too. And so we're going to talk about some of the steps that are going to help you a lot as you're launching something new. And this may be things that you've thought about. Surely you have thought about them, but maybe you didn't take this step-by-step approach to trying to make sure they don't become a problem for your business. So what's our job? We're trying to figure out how to launch a new product, get things going, get sales started in a new division of your company, and the process to do it. And I always like to think in terms of mitigating risk, reducing the cost, and getting the startup. And quite frankly, if you're getting into something, I want to find out real quick if it's a bad idea. And if you don't have someone around that can simply just tell you off the bat just by listening to what you're doing, oh, that's a bad idea, and you know they're always right, then sometimes you got to get in and do some testing so you can wade in, perfect things, and then go big. But that waiting in process and getting something started is key to your success. So one thing is want to map out the practical customer experience. I call it CX. And when I'm working with AmericanEagle.com, they've always got all sorts of acronyms, UX, UI. Uh, there's just, it's like everybody's saying acronyms. So I think the acronym for this should be CX, customer experience. But what is that customer experience when you're dealing with, I got a product, I want to do something, and that would be, we want them to be able to get interested in your product, identify which product and specifications is for them, place an order, receive the order, and be invoiced and pay for the order in an orderly fashion. That's pretty much it. And then I have one other thing that you'll hear me talking about later is then place a review, a 5-star review, and think you're great. So then let's make a sale and process it, refine the process, and make sure you're keeping the customers you attract. So when we're talking about attracting customers, getting something started, you got an idea that looks like it works, early on, and you probably heard about this before, is that it's so expensive and difficult to get a new customer. By the way, I look down here, I've got multiple screens, 1, 2, 3 here, and I got one right here. And I do, if someone pops a message up to me, it could be someone telling me you can't hear me. So I always want to keep an eye as I'm doing this live broadcast if something's gone wrong. Anyway, you want to make sure you're keeping the customers you attract. Let's see if I have my little graphic here that will remind you. I don't know if I have this up here or not still, but if I do, I'm going to play it for you. Let's see what I got here. Don't know. Right here. Take a look at this. See that revolving door? Many businesses have created a revolving door for themselves like this. And it's like, oh no, that's terrible. We don't want you to do that with your new business. And some of the silly things that we do at the beginning of some of these startup processes actually create that problem for us. Let's see, we got Sharon Skinner Hoffmeister, my niece. She's gone online for her business consecutively every day for 2013 times. Oh my gosh. Sharon, I'm so proud of you. That is fantastic. And then there we go. There's Amber McNeely. Good morning. Glad you're here. Thanks for coming. Thank you so much for coming. So we don't want the revolving door. We want to keep the customers we attract. So let's just think of an example here. Imagine that you were thinking about manufacturing and selling a large trash can thing. It's got molded in wheels, It's forkliftable. You can pick it up with a forklift if it's too heavy. There's a lid attached to it that doesn't fall off, and people can also push this around manually, and it would be appealing for factories. I don't know if I just invented this or not, but I was thinking of the big trash cans that we use outside on my drive, and when I fill it up and it's too heavy, I wish, and I don't have a forklift, but if I was in a factory and I fill one of these things up and they're molded in a way that I know how to do molding, they will last forever and they're super strong. But sometimes there's just no way you're going to be able to roll it around. So a forklift makes sense too. If it's balanced just right, I've pushed some pretty heavy weights. So there's an idea. Okay, so I got this, and it becomes, what are the natural steps towards moving this idea forward while controlling your risk? And, if you know me, I'm kind of risk averse. And when it comes to making investments and things, I take it easy. And let's see, we got comments here. Here's another good one. Alyssa Wagner, good morning. Welcome. Glad you made it to the show today. So glad to see you. Let's say now you already have a product to sell. That's nice. If you don't, that makes it more difficult. And there's some steps to do to prove out your concept maybe before you get too heavily invested, just to make sure it's okay. But let's assume you've got the product to sell. Maybe someone else makes it. You're able to buy it, resell it, or you have some sort of a partnership. Or you've already done the work and you know it's a great idea and you've gone ahead and tooled this thing up and it's ready to go. Then somewhere you had a prospect in mind when you thought of this product. You had somebody in mind that you thought might buy it. Are there others? This is time to list it all out. Figure out, and you hear me talk about the target market all the time, but one at a time, visit them and tell them what you're doing and ask for an order if they like it. Not an order for like 100 of these or 50 in their factory yet. Just an order for one. Give them the chance to be able to buy and try. And at the same time, you do this very personally. You make it personal. Look at the Gregory Sneed, financial strategist, you bet, financial coach. And he says, happy Friday. Gregory, so glad you're here today. Thank you. Welcome. So now we've talked to this person and their people, and we're going to go one at a time. We're not going to attack it in a big, massive way because you just want to get a customer. You want to run them through the process. And the closer they are to you, the better it is, the more personal it is, and the more forgiving they're going to be if something doesn't work out. And when you're taking that first order, you want to get an order so that you can run this through and make sure everything works. And so family, friends, past employers, I say business parks. If you can go through a business park, and there's a lot of business parks there that you can go like from one to another, that's cold calling, I know, but if you're good at it and people are just nice and will visit with you, you can walk in, tell them what you're doing, and maybe they'll say, well, hold on, let me get the guy and we'll take a look at it. They'll never forget being one of your first customers, but make it personal. I mean, I talk about, we need to get an order for just one box of these things, or one container, or one of this new forkliftable waste container that I thought of this morning. Just one. Why? Because I want to streamline the process, make sure that we've got everything all figured out before we go out there and do a billion of them. And at the same time, I think it's always good on new products that people have the ability to buy and try. Now, notice I don't call any of these things sample orders. A sample's free. If you want to give away a sample, then have at it. But I'm not real big on giving away sample products. I'm good on allowing people to buy a small quantity in order to get into it and try it. They can buy it and try it. If they love it, great. If they don't, talk to me. But hopefully we do enough work up front so that when they get it, it makes sense. And when someone gets one of something that's a cool idea, they'll keep it. They'll figure out a way to use it. If they get 10 of them and it just doesn't fit, their operation or what they're doing, they feel like they wasted their money. So that's why I like buy and try. Start with a small amount, and I don't like to give away samples because samples cost me, they cost everyone. And you think about it when you go down to the grocery store and you step up to the meat counter and say, "Man, I see that particular cut of meat. I've never had one quite like that. Would you give me one of those? I'll take it home and eat it and try it. And if I like it, I'll come back and buy more." Mm, you know, that doesn't really work, does it? And you can see how that works. It costs them, it costs you. As long as it's a great product at a fair price, shouldn't be a problem. Um, Greg says, bring cookies. They are a great door opener. There you go, Greg. And I love it when somebody shows up with cookies. It's always uh, puts a smile on my face and a pound in my waist. So let's think about that. We got the order just for one. Then you do the process, you do the sales process like it was for 100. Use this order to streamline things. Get a purchase order. Do you need that? Is that important? I like getting orders in writing. Do you have a financial system to email invoices? Like, really and truly, it's like, get started with QuickBooks Online. I think they may even have a free version, but it's really inexpensive, or some system like that where you can put the customer in, you can manage this, you can put your logo in there, you can make it professional, and then you'll be able to invoice them in a professional way as well. It all helps. And then also upfront is part of the process. Again, remember, we're just talking about get one order today, not a billion, not anything. Just you're starting something new, get an order. Then the documents needed. Do you have them already? Do you have a W-9 filled out and signed for your own company and dated for this year so that they can have one? And I don't suggest that you wait till they ask. Just about everyone needs a W-9 from their vendors. So send it to them, and at the same time request, as you're setting up their account, the papers that they typically give new vendors so that you can set them up that has credit information and banking information and referrals and that sort of thing. And just about everybody now has a form that they use for getting set up. And just, make sure everybody understands up front what your terms are and all that. And you do this with this first order. Let's see what it says. You get tax exemption. If you're selling in an environment where you don't charge sales tax, as long as they have a tax exempt certificate, because ultimately the sales tax gets paid at the end through reselling or through other ways that they actually do it. It's like, if you're not set up to receive sales tax, then make sure you have a tax exempt number that goes along with the product or service that you're selling, so that that's covered financially. But get all this done up front. You find out what you need and do it. And then, as we're talking about this whole process, remember, I just sold one container, but make sure that you're emailing an invoice so that is it possible that they can just click here and go right to pay off the credit card? When I send my invoices out of my QuickBooks, people can click here and pay by credit card. They can click another one, pay by ACH, or they can copy down the information and send me a check, whatever works for them. And it makes it real easy. So again, I mentioned, take a look at QuickBooks Online. That might be interesting for you. So let's see if anybody else has got any comments here. I always welcome your comments online. You've probably seen some of them come through, and how I put them up here. I'll put up my website so that you can see where the comments go on whatever platform you're in, because I'm on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitch, and Twitter. How about that? On all this stuff. And I definitely want you to be able to jump in there. It looks like, how about that? Big Tom Bigoski. Thank you. Thank you for the encouragement, Tom. Really glad you're here. So you got to make it easy for people to buy. And start from the very first customer. That might be your brother-in-law or your next door neighbor or somebody you used to work for, or when you were thinking about this particular expansion or product line, you had somebody in mind. Maybe they even helped you a little bit with the development. Now it's time for them to buy one. And you make it easy for people to buy from you. And this is your responsibility. You need to be sure the product is right for them. See, this is the thing is that when it comes to the specification of your product and it being right, do some due diligence with them to examine your product and how it fits in with what their situation is and their need, and whether or not it looks like it's going to work for them, and help decide that I can recommend it or not. Now, sometimes it might not look like to you like your product is just right for them, but they want to try it. Of course they can try it. I mean, a lot of times we buy things that we don't exactly need or aren't quite right, but we've got an idea. If someone's got an idea and they want to buy one of those, of course they can. And welcome it. They may have an idea that will launch into a whole new target market for you to even think about. How about that? So make sure they get it as agreed in wonderful shape, and there's no excuses after delivery. Think about the entire process and make sure that you're set up and you've thought it through so that that one piece that they buy, it's going to be wonderful. Now, later when they buy a truckload, you got to make sure that that's packaged and delivered in a beautiful way as well. But thinking through these things in advance will make you look good and make it a good customer experience. CX. Now, after they get the product, do they get the invoice right away so they can pay it? Are you set up for product and service reviews? Now think about that. This invoicing I told you about out of QuickBooks or whatever your system is. Once you ship it, then it's time to invoice immediately, same day. Next day at worst, with all the information on it so they can follow the shipment or whatever they need to do. But be sure they get invoiced in a timely fashion and they're able to get it, put it in their queue to pay, and move on. Nothing worse than getting the product and having the invoice for it show up a week later. It's like trying to match all this up is a real pain, and it's not a good experience for your customer. So give them a good experience. Do they know what to do to buy more? And is there an online account where they can get in, log in? Have you set that up yet? Or they just call or email you, reference the old purchase order or something, say, I want more of these. What's my price? It's up to you to make sure that it's easy for them to get more after they got the first one. They've tested it and said, oh, this is wonderful. I like this. Now, everyone, all this attention to detail is a real pain for a lot of folks. The high level of communication with the customer has two great effects. You're not bugging them. What you're doing is, one, they see that you care and you want them to have a great experience. Number two, you are creating a duplicatable system. Because in order to sell more of these, you're going to need more customers. And to begin with, you just wanted to sell one this month or this week. And then once you sell that, then let's sell another one. You know, if I get more than one a week to get started, I'm going to feel like hallelujah. And then you get a month down the road and you say, hey, I did one a week. We're starting to fulfill these orders. Maybe you could sell 2 a week or 3. But you say, well, I'm never going to be able to live off of 1 a week, even 2 a week or 5 a week. But the first 1 a week becomes 25 or 50 or 100. And they tell their friends. And that's the next part, which is review the customer experience. You need to talk to them, these first customers, and review with them how it's going, what they like about the product, and get their input. Remember, make it personal. I can remember on many things that I started up, the pride that my customer felt in knowing that they were my first development partner, that they were my first customer, and that if it wasn't for them, it wouldn't have ever happened. Just tell them that. Let them know how valuable they were to your success and thank them for it. And yeah, if you want to send them some cookies or do stuff like that, that's great. But I don't tie compliments and good stuff like that always to just like giving people free stuff and everything. I want it to feel great in their heart and that we have that heartfelt feeling together. Doesn't mean I don't give them a gift. Well, believe me, if I give them a gift and it's got my name plastered all over it, it's not much of a gift, is it? But if you want to be gracious like that and a gift giver, then give them something that's valuable that they can use. And every time they do use it, they'll remember you. It happens all the time. And your name doesn't have to be plastered on it at all. Probably shouldn't be. Now, Taner has an idea here. Let's read it together. To make continuous sales, you need to focus on solving the problem. Say to your customer that you solve their problems with your innovative product and explain to them how you did this. So it's absolutely true that you must be focusing on solving their problems. In fact, Taner, and some of you might know him as Tanner, and I are working on a big deal right now where I contacted a customer for something we were going to do together. And the first words out of his mouth were, I have a big problem in that area. Do you think you guys can fix it? It's like, I don't know, but we'll take a good look at it. I just told him the truth. I think we might be able to. I don't know if it's in our wheelhouse exactly right now or a little bit later. And he said, well, that would sure go a long way to doing some other business in this area too. And he kind of threw out some ideas about how beneficial it would be to us from a business standpoint if we could solve this problem over here, where he's got a big pile of business over here sitting there as a incentive, as an incentive. Yeah, be problem solver. People appreciate that. And I do problem solving in someone's plant sometimes relates nothing to the product that I'm selling, just to what I know and how I can help them be more efficient, do better, and make more money and have more sales. Always trying to help the customer be more successful. That's the thing. And then what you need to do is create a situation where they can actually review your product online. Now, I'm going to show you something right here that some of you know Eli Skinner of Simplify Realty, Fathom Realty, businessman that's been on my show a couple times and talked about how he does what he does. Well, one of the important things in everyone's business, not just real estate, are catching reviews, because I've already heard some statistics the other day on a show with the dub.com guys that 92% of people before they buy something go online looking for reviews and third-party endorsements. And a good place to get those is like Facebook, Zillow, Google, Yelp, Nextdoor. And I want you to see an example of his page, what he uses. So I'm going to go over here, share screen. Take a look at this. I'm going to go right there and hit it. Put this on the screen. This will be interesting to you. There you go. Now, I'll put myself in the thing right here. Make it a little bit bigger. This is givegoodreviews.com. Givegoodreviews.com. And remember, everyone, you want 5-star reviews. So don't be shy about telling people that you want 5-star reviews. And if you have a sense that someone's got a problem that's going to result in something other than a 5-star review, then you want to iron that out before they go online and do it. But the cool thing about his site, and this is a site that Eli's developed, and if you're interested in something like this, you should give me a call. And we're beginning to market this as an option. This is like a new product. How about that? So personally, if you think, man, I would like to be able to send people to my own Give Good Reviews site like this and have them do this, then bingo, do it. Here's an example. It's customizable. People can type in here their review. And so you know how hard it is you can say the same thing in each review then, so people can just click here and hit copy and it goes on to where you can paste. So now someone can go to the review sites. But how difficult is it to know where to go and how that works? Well, the cool thing is that you can click each review site. It makes a new window so you don't lose what you're doing. And here's an example. This goes to Eli's next door thing, and you literally can just paste right here and look, boom, there. See, that's what I just copied off. Well, I'm not going to leave a review, but pop it in, hit post, and you just left a review on Nextdoor for them or Yelp. Bam. Then you put the review in, or Google reviews. Now, if you've got a business and you want to be able to do this too and just send people, hey, here, give me a review here. Bam. There you go. It's pretty slick. And so it's called givegoodreviews.com. And right now we're in the process of beginning the marketing of this as a service, and that you can have personalized for yourself, just like this with all your links. Email me or whatever if this is interesting to you, and we'll talk about how you can have this as well. And you can be my development partner along with Eli on this new business of givegoodreviews.com. So there we go. How about that? Surprise. I didn't even know I was going to be pitching something like that, but it makes sense and it's very easy to do. So maybe it would be something that you'd like to participate in as we develop it. So let's review this whole customer experience process. 1, potential customers can find you and become interested in your new trash cans. Remember my make-believe thing? Okay, so you make yourself in a situation where they can find you through your website, through social media, through whatever you're doing. 2, you make it easy for them to call, email, text, chat, and get specifications needed to make a buying decision. Remember what Jeffrey Gitomer says, people hate to be sold, they love to buy. Let's allow people to make buying decisions and be interested to buy from you. They can buy and try just a small amount. Let me edit that. Boom, try it again. They need to be able to buy and try just a small amount. And that also reduces your risk, because if someone buys just one of something where they probably need 10 or 25, they'll probably keep that one because they'll figure out a way to use it. People, it's like in the plastic pallet business. If someone said, well, I want to buy a half a dozen and try these out, and then I'll probably be buying 100. And I'll say, well, you know what? In order to give it a good test, all you need is like 2, even 1. Once you buy 1, if you love it, great. If you don't, I've never seen anybody throw one of these away. They find some place for 1. But if you have a half a dozen, it feels like it's a little bit too much of an expense. And just about everyone say, you're right. You know, I can put something on a good pallet like that, even if it's not perfect for what I'm doing. Same thing for your new trash can. Okay. What else? Number 4, you can invoice promptly. It looks professional and good. And they have multiple ways to pay from the invoice, like a credit card, ACH, or check. And in an easy way. Every time you make it a difficult way, or they have to ask, well, can I pay by credit card, rather than you just offering it? Or what about this? Or what about that? If your customer has to be inquiring with you about what seems like simple things, is okay, here's the invoice, time to pay, they should be able to click something right on that email that sends them where they need to go, and that it loops into the invoice that they're trying to pay to make it seamless and easy. We want them to say, well, that was easy. These guys are pretty good. I like them. Think about it. Number 5, it's got to be easy for them to find you and buy again, perhaps with an established online account for e-commerce. I don't know. But be ready and make sure your customer knows how to get back to you to get some more, whatever it is. They can leave 5-star reviews. And I showed you right here the example at givegoodreviews.com. People can put links into their review sites. Um, so many people say, give us a Google review and put a link in, but it doesn't go to the actual review page. And that's the trick. And if you have several places that you'd like reviews, doing something like what I showed you here at givegoodreviews.com, consolidating into one place where to go to click to get to the right spot to give reviews will only help you. And they'll see how well organized you are, and it will be quite impressive. So, how'd you like that? We got through it, and it's called Just Sell One. We got a new business thing going, got a product you want to sell. Let's get out there and just sell one. Take it through the entire process from beginning to end. Document it, repeat it. Now, I remember in 1993, Stratus Pallets started, and we had a smile, a borrowed pallet, and a dream. It wasn't long. Within a month or two, we had some additional products that we could sell. And the goal was, well, let's just sell one a month. And that lasted for the first month. Now let's sell one a week. And then it became, let's sell one a day. And we built a big multi-million-dollar international business on that. And not on single sales from a business volume and profit standpoint, but from the sales that emanated from those buy and try moments when people felt like, really, I can just buy one, try it. If I like it, buy more. You bet. And we perfected the customer experience so it was pleasurable. People enjoyed it. They loved talking to us on the phone, via email when email started, and at the trade shows, and whenever we made visits. We were fun people to deal with. And I want you to be fun. Remember, if you can make them smile, you can make them buy. How about that? You heard that again. That came from Jeffrey Gittimer, my friend as well. John, I'm glad you appreciate this. Thanks for coming. Everyone, you've been with me on the Buyers and Sellers Show today, and I look forward to seeing you next Friday, same time, same channel. And don't forget to go to my website if you want to catch all the shows and see them. There's a ton of ways to catch me and catch this show and the replays. Thank you for being here. Thank you for support. See you next week. See you next week. Thanks for coming.